There's something happening quietly across the world right now, something no one wants to talk about openly, something you can feel but rarely see discussed without being censored, softened, or twisted into something politically safe. Millions of single men are slowly disappearing from society. Not physically vanishing, not moving to some hidden island, not forming secret underground clubs. They are withdrawing. They are logging off. They are opting out. They are shrinking their social circles. They are avoiding relationships. They are avoiding dating. They are avoiding public vulnerability. And the truth is uncomfortable because it challenges the official narrative. For decades, society has told men that if they struggle in modern relationships, the problem must be them. They are told to improve, to communicate more, to be more emotionally available, to earn more, to be softer, to be stronger, to be everything at once. But no one is asking why so many men are choosing silence over participation. No one is asking why the drive that once pushed men to build families, communities, and futures is fading. And when a pattern becomes global, when it crosses cultures, languages, and continents, it stops being an individual flaw. It becomes a systemic shift. Look at the data without emotion and you'll see the pattern. Marriage rates are declining. Birth rates are collapsing. Dating apps show that a small percentage of men receive the majority of attention while average men are left invisible. Social media amplifies unrealistic standards for both men and women, but the consequences hit differently. A man who is rejected repeatedly does not receive sympathy. He is told to work harder. He is told to level up. He is told to fix himself. And at some point, something inside him decides that the game is rigged. When enough men reach that conclusion, they stop playing. The modern dating marketplace has become hyper-competitive and hyper-visible. In previous generations, a man's value was measured locally. He competed within his town, his workplace, his community. Now he competes globally through a 6-inch screen. A woman can receive attention from hundreds of men instantly. A man might receive none. This imbalance creates a psychological environment where average men feel disposable. When a person feels disposable long enough, he either fights harder or he withdraws. Many are choosing withdrawal. But this is not just about dating apps. It's deeper. It's cultural. Over the last decade, masculinity has been scrutinized, criticized, dissected, and often portrayed as inherently flawed. Boys grow up hearing about toxic masculinity before they understand what healthy masculinity even is. They are told what not to be more often than they are shown what to become. When a man's natural instincts to lead, protect, compete, and strive are constantly framed as problematic unless carefully filtered, he begins to question his own identity, and confusion is paralyzing. Women have gained unprecedented freedom and opportunity in modern society. That is a historical reality. Education, careers, independence, mobility, choice. But with expanded options comes expanded expectations. Many women now seek partners who earn as much or more than they do, who are emotionally intelligent yet dominant, sensitive yet decisive, ambitious yet always available. The standard has become paradoxical. And paradoxes exhaust people. When a man feels that no matter what he does, it will never be enough, he eventually stops trying. This is where the uncomfortable part emerges. Women are not solely responsible for this shift, but they are powerful participants in shaping it. Social media has incentivized hypergamy in a way never seen before. A woman's perception of what is normal is shaped not by her immediate community, but by curated highlight reels of high-status men. The average man becomes invisible not because he lacks character, but because he lacks spectacle, and spectacle dominates modern attention. The result is a silent class of men who go to work, pay their bills, return home, and engage minimally with the social world. They are not violent, they are not loud, they are not protesting in the streets. They are simply opting out. They invest in video games, solo hobbies, online communities, and digital distractions because those environments offer predictable reward systems. In a game, effort leads to progress. In modern dating, effort often leads to confusion. There is also the economic dimension. The cost of living has increased. Housing, education, healthcare, everything demands more financial stability before a man even considers starting a family. In previous generations, a single income could support a household. Now many men feel financially inadequate before they even begin, and if they cannot fulfill the traditional provider role, they feel stripped of purpose. When a role disappears without a clear replacement, identity fractures. Many women say they want emotionally available men, yet when men open up, they often discover that vulnerability reduces attraction. Not always, not universally, but frequently enough to create caution. A man learns quickly that expressing uncertainty can cost him respect, so he retreats into stoicism, but modern culture criticizes stoicism as emotional repression. This double bind creates psychological tension. Speak and risk losing attraction. Stay silent and be labeled distant. Eventually, he chooses isolation because isolation removes the contradiction. The narrative often suggests that men are afraid of strong women. That is not entirely accurate. Many men are not afraid of strong women. They are exhausted by competition inside their own relationships. If partnership feels like a constant negotiation of power rather than cooperation toward shared goals, it becomes draining. Men historically found meaning in being needed. Modern independence means fewer women need men for survival. That is progress in many ways. But it also removes a core motivational driver for men. If he is not needed, what is he building for? The sexual marketplace has also shifted dramatically. Casual relationships are normalized. Long-term commitment is delayed. Hookup culture benefits a small percentage of highly attractive men while leaving others on the sidelines. This creates a winner-takes-most dynamic. The invisible majority internalizes the message that they are not desirable enough. Over time, repeated rejection reshapes self-perception. A man who feels unwanted does not become louder. He becomes quieter. Technology amplifies comparison. A man sees influencers with luxury lifestyles, perfect bodies, charismatic confidence. He measures himself against the top 1% rather than the average. Women do the same. But the male experience of comparison often translates into silent withdrawal rather than communal discussion. Men are less likely to publicly process their insecurities. They internalize them. They grind alone or they disappear. Society tells men to improve themselves for their own sake, and that is valuable advice. Self-improvement is powerful. But when self-improvement becomes a prerequisite just to be considered worthy of basic affection, resentment can grow. A man may ask himself why love feels conditional upon constant achievement. Why must he earn what previous generations built together from scratch? Another factor rarely acknowledged is legal risk. Marriage laws in many countries place financial and custodial risks disproportionately on men in divorce scenarios. Even if the statistics are debated, the perception alone influences behavior. If a man believes that one wrong decision could cost him his assets, his children, and his stability, he becomes cautious. Caution slows commitment. There is also the psychological impact of public discourse. Online spaces often frame men as privileged oppressors while simultaneously mocking struggling men as losers. This contradiction erodes belonging. If a man does not feel powerful and he is told he is inherently privileged, he experiences cognitive dissonance. His lived experience does not match the narrative. Disconnection deepens. Women often express frustration that men are not stepping up, but stepping up toward what exactly? The blueprint has changed. Traditional masculinity is criticized. New masculinity is undefined. Men are expected to intuitively understand shifting expectations without clear guidance. When expectations change faster than adaptation, withdrawal becomes the safest option. This disappearance is not dramatic. It looks like declining participation in dating. It looks like men choosing not to approach. It looks like fewer social risks. It looks like spending weekends alone rather than facing rejection. It looks like focusing on career or hobbies instead of pursuing partnership. It looks like silence. There is also the erosion of male-only spaces. Historically, men bonded through shared struggle, work, and ritual. Modern society often views male exclusivity with suspicion. Without strong male communities, men lack mentorship and guidance. They navigate relationship dynamics alone, often learning through painful trial and error. When failure accumulates without support, disengagement feels rational. The education system increasingly favors traits like compliance and verbal expression, areas where girls statistically outperform boys. Boys grow up receiving more disciplinary action and less encouragement. By adulthood, many men carry subtle narratives of inadequacy. Entering a dating environment that magnifies evaluation intensifies those narratives. Women are not villains in this story, but they are participants in a system that rewards hyperselectivity and punishes average stability. When social media algorithms amplify only the most attractive lifestyles, standards inflate. And when standards inflate, average men shrink. Many men internalize the belief that they must become exceptional to be chosen, but exceptional is mathematically limited. Not everyone can be top tier. So what happens to the rest? They build parallel worlds. They invest in digital economies, remote work, online friendships, solitary routines. They adapt by minimizing emotional exposure. This withdrawal has consequences: fewer families, lower birth rates, increased loneliness, rising mental health struggles. Society depends on engaged men. When men disengage, infrastructure weakens quietly. Women often say they want men to pursue, but pursuit requires confidence that effort will be respected. In a culture where public rejection can be recorded, shared, and mocked, risk becomes amplified. The cost of embarrassment is higher in the digital age. There is also a subtle shift in romantic narratives. Love stories now emphasize personal fulfillment over sacrifice. If a relationship does not continuously feel aligned with individual growth, it is abandoned. Men historically tolerated hardship for long-term stability. Modern relationships often lack that endurance. The disappearance of men is not rebellion. It is exhaustion. It is the slow fading of motivation in an environment perceived as hostile or indifferent. It is the calculation that the reward no longer justifies the risk. And yet beneath the withdrawal is desire. Men still want connection. They still want intimacy. They still want respect. But respect feels scarce. Appreciation feels conditional. Loyalty feels uncertain. If women truly want engaged, present, committed men, the cultural conversation must shift. Hyperindependence cannot coexist with expectations of traditional provision without tension. Selectivity cannot escalate infinitely without excluding the majority. Critique cannot dominate without eroding morale. The solution is not regression. It is recalibration, mutual empathy, realistic standards, appreciation of average stability, celebration of effort, not just outcome, recognition that partnership is cooperation, not competition. Until that recalibration happens, the quiet exodus will continue. Men will continue to log off. They will continue to shrink their social footprints. They will continue to choose peace over pursuit. And one day society may look around and wonder where the builders went, where the fathers went, where the husbands went. They did not vanish. They simply decided that the modern arena no longer rewards their participation.